Elizabeth Ann Pride, lover of all things Prince Rogers Nelson for the last 40 years since I was 13 years old. So now I find myself on YouTube talking about what I was told in The Life After and how Prince Rogers Nelson, the one the world knows as, and the creator are one and the same. And that's what you will find here on my channel. Perhaps you're aware that I passed from a heroin overdose on July 20th, 2010. I think it was somewhere between 4 in the afternoon, somewhere around there, from my hospital records being at 5:30. So the thing about my experience that makes it extremely unique and special is that I came back from that experience remembering absolutely nothing. I had no life after death recognizances until the spring of 2020. And believe me, it was as surprising to me as it is to you. However, I have the luxury, I would say, of having, see, when I started remembering, or the creator started sharing the things with me in 2020, I had the ability, is what I'm calling the luxury, to see in my mind's eye what he had told me before, even though I didn't know exactly what was happening or why I was hearing it. So when I got to the life after, this is the way I remember it and recall it, and the only way I can explain it. I always call it a space place. I don't know if it was inside of my own physical vehicle, because basically I remember it like meditating to unbelievable heights and levels, where I was able to meet the creator. And when I did, and then he started talking to me in the form of Prince Rogers Nelson, and walking and talking and bringing holographic things about with his hand gestures and just showing me my life purpose and story and how he made and saw the beginning and the end, and that he is the ultimate truth. The other ultimate truth is that we've all been reincarnated, and that souls come to this world in different bodies, but they are still eternal souls. I'm not going to go into all the details about our meeting and what happened there, because my goal in this video is to expose the lies that are out there on the internet about who Prince Rogers Nelson is, was, and is going to be perceived to be for all time. I saw a video just today where they said he was the Satan's prophets in music or something like that. So it spurred me to come make another video for today, because listen, my sole purpose was exposed to me that I had stalked, followed, loved all things Prince Rogers Nelson for 40 years because he needed a soul that would both be understanding to his plight as somebody, a soul that would be attached to him not only as the musician, but as being able to grasp that he is Hashem, the creator, because I also have been seeking all things godly for 30 years. And even before that, I just didn't know it. So, but he said that my soul would be able to meld those purposes together and to expose his intents and purposes, to the best of my ability to the world, because no one else, everyone else has misaligned, misused, abused, tricked and deceived, thieves in the temple, and desecration of the temple, what he has to offer us all. And I've been trusted, and he knows that I would never do anything like that. So I'm here to expose the lies surrounding Paisley Park.
It's so true in life, I believe, that when we stop chasing illusions and go after the truth, life can be so wonderful.
Fans are waiting to learn the new date for two concerts postponed tonight.
That very same day, he saw a doctor named Michael Todd Schulenberg, and some tests were done.
There are two identities for Michael Schulenberg. Carver County documents refer to Michael T. Schulenberg. Michael says his address is 15450 Highway 7, Minnetonka. Why then do we get an address of 675 Water Street, Excelsior, Minnesota, if we look up Michael T. Schulenberg? However, these medications are prescribed by Michael Schulenberg without a T. That lets us to know that there are two identities. Not only that, that lady that was talking on that HLN video said that Dr. Schulenberg did tests on the 7th. Let's see what the investigation actually says. Michael Schulenberg says, Kirk Johnson, who was present this morning, has been a patient of mine for 16 years. And last fall, Kirk contacted me to see if I would be open to helping him with his boss. Schulenberg stating that he was initially contacted in the fall of 2015 lets us know that the cover that they just went out and contacted him because they were trying to save Prince's life is a lie. They asked him to be involved in the fall of 2015. However, I exposed on Andrew Kornfeld's individual video as well as on the trailer that I believe Andrew was contacted and went to living there at Paisley Park at the time, which I've proven through receipts and research of his Crohn's disease and the various things. Like I said, go check out his individual video. So again, that's why Schulenberg said nothing came to fruition until April 7th. Very important you understand here, he says, and then since he wanted IV fluids, that's not something I could do there. So then we arranged to meet up at my office. Look at the word, we arranged to meet up at my office. So Kirk brought Prince over, and Marone, who is Prince's assistant, then met us there too. And then, just for privacy purposes, they allegedly enter through the back of the building. Yet here in this testimony, Schulenberg said he met Prince, etc., met Prince at Paisley Park, and then transported him to the clinic. So did he transport, or did Kirk and Marone? Well, did Kirk take him and then Marone met him there? Because that's what they just set up here. And then down here, they tell a different story where Schulenberg transported him himself.
He saw a doctor named Michael Todd Schulenberg, and some tests were done.
The notes from that doctor visit go on to say that Prince was given IV fluids in his right forearm, and that the numbness and tingling that he had complained about were resolved and clear. And then when asked if he had prescribed any other prescriptions, he said, wait, I take that back. He admitted that he prescribed both Zofran and vitamin D for Prince on 4/7/16. But he put that prescription in Kirk's name because those are not controlled substances. So which is it? Did you put Percocet in his name because they are, and then Zofran and vitamin D because they're not? No, it was because Kirk Johnson was playing one of the lookalikes. Kirk was on camera picking up medication. Kirk is about 5'4" and could have very easily passed for 5'2" in the right clothing. The Zofran and vitamin D that were prescribed on the 7th, on April 7th, were also prescribed on October 23rd, 2015. It was during this appointment, and I'm sorry, it wasn't October 2015, it was 2013, in which an ambulance, it says here, a rig from Chaska came, a male was taken to the hospital. It says rig from Chaska to 212 Medical Center. So on that date, Zofran and vitamin D were provided as well. This here is police testimony. It says, I then found a medical record for Prince from 10/23/13. It shows that he was admitted to the ER on 10/23 after being transported by ambulance. While at the hospital, you can see bicarb is only 19, suggesting that he has not been eating for some time and potassium slightly low. Declined the Zofran offered as he would like to be as natural as possible. Liter of saline given, etc. So Prince was then discharged from the hospital at 23:02 on 10/23/13. October 23rd, rig from Chaska. However, in scenario number 2, Kirk testifies that a few years ago when Prince was complaining that he was really dehydrated and needed fluids, that takes the cover up all the way back to 2013. That's part of what I was told when I was in the Life After, is that the lookalikes and everything would be part of the breakdown. It's part of the thieves in the temple. It's part of how eventually Phaedra and Van Jones and everyone came in, and even the Obama White House. Like I said, Thieves in the Temple. The other White House is Paisley Park. The bottles of Zofran and vitamin D that were prescribed on April 7th, actually, during the investigation, they were found to have other drugs in them, which is what I'm going to show you right now. First of all, this suitcase where the bottles that I'm talking about in the name of Kirk Johnson, yeah, they are non-narcotic Zofran and vitamin D prescription. However, the second bottle located in the suitcase in Kirk Johnson's name was prescribed on 4/7 by Dr. S. It was labeled ondansetron, which is the Zofran. Inside was one yellow oval pill for nausea and vomiting, 8 round whole pills marked as Percocet. And those weren't prescribed until the 14th, which allegedly were put in Prince's name to protect, you know, his identity and everything. But it was all Kirk Johnson. So I'm not saying Kirk Johnson did everything by himself, but you also need to be aware that there are 2 identities for him as well. There's Kirk Anthony Johnson of KAJ Music Industries. You'll find him on the billing. And there's Kirk Johnson, who fills prescriptions at the CVS pharmacy on Galpin Avenue. And what's interesting about that is 3 of the properties, at least, that I've been able to find that I think were owned by NPG, that Tyka, I think, was trying to have filed some special interest in selling the properties off very quickly. 3 of them were on Galpin Avenue, and the CVS pharmacy that they were using to fill prescriptions was a doing business as. It was like a Medicaid pharmacy doing business as. I don't even know, from the best of my research, if it was a real brick and mortar pharmacy. So that's also very normal. Like Jim Olsen is always saying, nothing here is normal. The truth is normal, and that's what I'm sharing. The thing is, for a while, I think I said earlier in the video that the lookalikes were being used since at least 2011. I'm not exactly sure when they came into play. It could have been forever, according to what the creator told me about him. Again, there's a difference between having an image and a soul. And I think something happened to him at the same time as happened to me in 2010. And so then more and more lookalikes went to being used. But it wasn't just it was part of the cover, but it was done to maintain the money, you know, the $1 million show. And it's why the concerts went to being presented at last minute. The tickets would go on sale last minute, you know what I mean? And then they were changed, and they want us to believe that on April 7th, all of a sudden, you know, canceling these concerts. But it was because there was some sort of sickness that would make a person need to take Zofran and vitamin D, and having been, it was some kind of illness. I'm not sure what. But that was documented in the October 23rd ER records, that the patient wanted to be as natural as possible. So all I'm trying to say is that the identities were not only men. It wasn't only Kirk Johnson by himself. There was many other people. You guys, this is huge. It's, people think that maybe I'm just investigating, like people care about Kurt Cobain or Whitney Houston or Michael Jackson's death. It's not like that here, you guys. This is the real deal. This is the cover. It's the cover. So let's uncover it. If you look right here, you can see Thursday, April 7th, 7:49 a.m. If Mike Schulenberg is here in the blue, we're assuming Kirk is saying, yes, you can come over. I'll meet you at the south gate. Schulenberg says, okay, about 15 minutes. Well, we know this is 7:49, but we don't get to know what time that is. Could you tell me why Kirk is saying on the way and Schulenberg is saying, just text me when you get here? Here, I need to get back in. So this goes to show us that Schulenberg transported Prince, and that Kirk is saying he needs to get back in as if he's already been there. So the other thing that's really interesting about that is the time, 7:49. It coincides with the phone record that Kirk Johnson called Prince's kitchen and bedroom at 7:49 and 7:51 a.m. And as I said, they're always mixing and matching evidence throughout these files and using the same time. So I just thought that was quite interesting and normal. What I mean about the cutting and splicing of evidence is I've been investigating the investigation for 3 years and following Prince for 40. So I know who all the people are and what's normal, what's not, how people speak, how they don't. The evidence, like I was saying, is that on April 21st, the morning of, that Kurt called the bathroom and kitchen at 7:49 and 7:51 a.m. In the text on April 7th at 7:49 is just one example of the way that the evidence, like when on April 7th, Schulenberg says they entered through the back of the complex because it wasn't open for patient care. That's allegedly what they did on the 20th as well. And we're shown that CCTV documentation, but we're never shown the alleged documentation from the 7th. So the documentation that you do see on CCTV could be from the 7th, and they're trying to make it like the 21st. So all I'm saying is throughout, the evidence is sliced and diced. So believe it or not, we're still on April 7th, and Kirk Johnson is the one having the appointment as Prince. Kirk Johnson, I believe, or Marone Bakir, I'm not sure which, is performing as Prince and has that appointment. They have both stage fright and like to take drugs because it frees up the psychedelical pharmaceutical experience for them to transcend and be one with the maker. Weird, right? It's the truth. Inside the suitcase, I found 2 medications in a bottle that were supposed to be Kirk Johnson's. They were, of course, in the Peter Bravestrong suitcase. When they looked in the medication, there appeared 4 different types of medications in 2 separate bottles, okay? They were placed there purposely. So here they're talking about the green capsules, the vitamin D2 and the 7 green capsules, etc. The photographs that you see on these here, see the green capsules, those are, they want you to believe that all those are illicit drugs. Some of them are, but the majority of them aren't even narcotic, but they were still planted there for a reason, and that's for this whole story to be discovered. The rest of these CVS bottles and vitamin bottles, they're all in Kirk Johnson's name, and they all have the alleged Watson 853 Vicodin in them. They're placed all around because, again, we're talking about planted drugs. It was so that this story could be told and the truth could come out about what was happening at Paisley Park. Here above me, it says Recovery Without Walls. The pamphlet, Recovery from the Purple Rain Room, is located on the main level of the building. Listen, folks, Andrew Kornfeld is said to be from Recovery Without Walls, and he wasn't supposed to be in that part of the building. So the Recovery Without Walls pamphlet wouldn't have been in that room if Andrew had not been there prior. So it's not just the prescription bottles that were found around Paisley Park with drugs in them. You can see that Target and Vitamin C had the alleged Vicodin in it. There was also, of course, the Tylenol 3 with codeine that he got from Sarah Boo, the dentist. Only one of those 10 pills tested even showed codeine, as the bottle indicated. So, yes, prescriptions were being written, but they were dealing in, counterfeit drugs for pharmacological purposes. Here you can see another vitamin C bottle had, again, the Watson 853, and some of the pills were tested and showed just lidocaine, no hydrocodone. And then, it says the bottle contained a mixture of synthetic lidocaine and hydrocodone pills. So they were all synthetic, some some had just lidocaine, only one had hydrocodone. And over here, it says one of the pills tested showed the pill contained fentanyl and lidocaine. So only one pill that they tested even showed fentanyl. So for them to say that they tested all these drugs at Paisley Park and Prince died from an overdose of fentanyl unbeknownst to him is BS on the highest level. The information after testing showed that the pills that appeared to be hydrocodone were not hydrocodone, but in fact a narcotic manufactured in a clandestine lab. According to this Agent Olson, they were these pills were tested and identified to be out of this plastic baggie which was found in Andrew Kornfeld's possession and found in the dumpster. Those pills had the presence of ecstasy. So tell me people weren't partying at Paisley Park after dark. Speaking of Peter Bravestrong, real quick, that's the name that the media says is on the suitcase that I showed you earlier. The one with Kirk Johnson's drugs. As far as the lookalikes and everything, the Peter Bravestrong Skype account was set up in November of 2014. They never show us this evidence, even though there would be identification. There is no video. So Peter Bravestrong, Peanut Butter Logic, served on a bed of lies.
Was it male or female? I'm sorry, I missed it.
A male passenger.
I've got an unresponsive passenger.
You don't land a plane because of the flu.